we are. Doesn't say we don't have battles. Does not say that we are not continuing to struggle. But the fact that we have taken on the challenge and winning is important. California is the most diverse state in the nation, and it's reflected in this room. It's reflected in our relationships with each other. It's reflected in our values in California that will always celebrate that. I'm honored in the last election. I have to thank all of you doing the recall, but you did an amazing job. You did an amazing job in us getting you resources and utilizing those resources so that we can have a great turnout. And that's important. You play a key role in that because as our state moves to become more and more ethnic, our media is too. And the messages we send is there and being utilized by all of you to make all of us better and greater each and every day. So I'm pleased to welcome you. I'm here just to really welcome you to Sacramento. Thank you for the work that you do each and every day. Thanks to my good friend Regina, who just constantly knocks it out the park for all of you because she loves SMU. And grounded in her dad's love for the press, we know that. So she grew up in a sense of understanding the importance of having the media and having true messages and having diversity in California. So she grew up with that, and she is making all of us very proud and making us shine each and every day for ethnic media. And I have seen you grow. I've seen you glow in the last few years, and that in itself is amazing, and forming coalitions and relationships that are essential. California is great because we hang together. We fight together. We know we have our problems, but we understand the value of each and every one of you to California. So I'm just honored to be your Secretary of State, honored to walk into a state and a room and a place where diversity is respected and encouraged, and that we look beyond the external and look to see what the people have to offer, but we also celebrate how different we are, which is how beautiful we are. And every time I look in the faces of so many who have such great history, it makes me sad for those states who refuse to deal with their history. But we celebrate ours, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and all in between. And as a result of that, we're stronger and better as a result of it. So once again, thank you so very much for having me with you today. I want to celebrate this conference today. Congratulations to all of those of you who will be receiving awards. You're most deserving. And we're doing everything we can, and still talking to try to get more money for 2024 for the media, and hopefully we'll get it before March so that we can have a great turnout in our primary and a great turnout in the national election. And this will be probably the most significant election in our history. But it's the strongest for democracy, and we're going to fight always for that. So once again, thank you, Regina, for inviting me. Thanks to all of you who said, oh, you came? Of course, I just live up the street. But equally important, I appreciate everything you've done and everything you continue to do for this state and most importantly for this nation. Thank you so very much. I'm glad to be with
you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome to our stage our MC for this afternoon, meteorologist on KXTV News Channel 13, Sacramento, Miss Darla Gibbons.
Good morning, everybody. Yes, we are still morning time. Let's please give another round of applause for our California Secretary of State, Dr. Shirley. Thank you so much for those inspiring and impactful words this morning. Thank you so much for having me here. And I do want to thank Regina for keeping on her father's legacy, simply because I grew up in Los Angeles. We had one TV in the house. Whatever my daddy wanted to watch, that's what we watched. So it was news and sports. I grew to love sports. I've been on a fantasy football league for 35 seasons now, but I hated news. I'm like, news again? But in watching the television, I realized I didn't see anyone who looked like me. And I'm like, So 11th grade, I decided that's what I want to do. I want to represent my community where there's more than drug deals and unwanted and teenage pregnancies and drive-by shootings. There's more than that going on in the Black community, and I wanted to change that narrative. That's a common word that we use now, changing the narrative. I had no idea back then that's what I wanted to do. So 92 rolls around, I moved to Fresno, the Rodney King uprising happens, because I'm like, you know what? It wasn't LA that I didn't like, it's the business that I don't like. But one of my counterparts says, those people were just looking for a reason to do something like this. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean those people? So that statement right there gave me my claws to dig in and continue what I pursued. And I've had a career since 1989 in the media. And that goes to people who have come before me, and I hope to have that legacy of people who are coming behind me. So with that, I just want to thank you guys for doing what you do. Thank you for being here. And also, I'm excited and honored to be here for today and to be in a room with such professionals as yourselves in ethnic media. So let's give yourselves a round of applause. We know that the community news is a connector that uplifts in important cultural events, celebrating weddings, deaths, kids, and sports, and a thread that makes up the tapestry of our great state. So thank you for joining us here today. You know, I grew up reading things like the LA Wave, the Sentinel, you know, of course we have our Sac Observer. Just want to give a shout out to our local papers here as well. Now, before we do get started, if there are anyone who has an open seat next to you, can you please raise your hand? So we'll know where we can have some more folks come in and sit down. And also, if you have not yet silenced or put your phones on vibrate, we'd appreciate that very much. So before we do get started with our agenda, we do have some elected officials and former elected officials in the room that we'd like to recognize. And if I miss anyone, please just slip your hand up and say, here I am. Do we have former Senator Bob Huff in the room? Former Assemblymember Cheryl Brown. And is there anyone else in the room that we would like to recognize you? We thank you so much. We appreciate your service. Now, Secretary of State Shirley Weber, she set the tone for the day in a very impactful day. So let's get to it. Why we are here today. We mentioned it because our voice in our communities are important and powerful. How else will our people know what's going on in their community if it wasn't about you? So our next speaker will really help put that into perspective by breaking down the numbers. Please help me welcome and introduce our keynote speaker, U.S. Census Director Robert Santos, Robert L. Santos. Director Santos is the 26th Director of the U.S. Census Bureau. His career spans over 40 years in survey, research, statistical design and analysis, and executive level management. He previously served as Vice President and Chief Methodologist at the Urban Institute, where he directed the Statistical Methods Group. Please welcome Director Santos.
Let's see, is it afternoon? Buenas tardes. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an absolute joy to be here, and it's an incredible honor. So I actually like to think of myself as just another Vato Loco de San Antonio, because that's what I am. But you know, it's incredibly important that for me and the Census Bureau that I'm here with you, the media, the ethnic media today. You see, it's you who serve as the trusted voices in your communities. It's you who connect to the people whose representation we need in our surveys and our censuses that we all too often find it really difficult to get. You serve these people, your people, our people, and our communities. And we serve them too, right? As the Census Bureau, we're public servants. I'm your director. I'm director of everyone. Not director of everyone. I'm director, in my role as director of the Census Bureau. I serve everyone. But we want to serve your communities the people that you represent, we want to serve them better. And we know that we need to improve. That's why it's our priority to establish a continuous dialogue, a continuous connection with your constituencies, with communities of color. Yes, the Census Bureau historically has struggled to reach people of color. We are in a constant quest to motivate participation in our censuses and surveys among the historically undercounted populations. And this is interesting, it's these populations, our people, who are growing in numbers over time and increasing the diversity of our nation. It's resulting, the resulting data that can prove really valuable to these communities of color if we can only capture it. Yet, the people we need to know the most about are those we often measure the least accurately. But their time and our time has come. We know that we need to adapt to our beautifully diverse nation. In fact, to achieve our mission, we are obliged to acculturate. You know, I have a story. I like to tell stories. I have a story to share with you that illustrates what I'm talking about. It's really so simple, and yet has had such a profound and meaningful impact on the focus that I, as the director of the Census Bureau, am bringing to what we do and to our mission. It's a story that comes out of the 1990s. When I was doing a lot of learning, I was, later mid-career. As a statistician, I was a study section member for a federal grant agency making group. And what we do is we receive proposals, come in once every 3 months or so, review proposals for research from all over, and then we score them, and then we rank them out. And as part of that work, I'd received newsletters from the federal grant-making agencies about how we were doing and what type of grant research was going on. This was on health services research. So one day I was there, I was casually perusing the little newsletter that I received. This is back in the days of hard copies, remember that? And so I was doing that, and I came upon this really interesting project. It was a comparative study of Spanish-speaking patients who presented at health care clinics. This was the 90s, okay? And it's the results that drew my attention. So the research found that when Spanish-speaking patients presented at a clinic where some of the healthcare staff knew just even a little bit of Spanish, then the patient outcomes were more favorable than in situations where healthcare staff didn't speak Spanish. Honestly, I burst out laughing. I don't know about you, it was like, what? Okay. Do we really need to do research to verify that people who understand instructions perform better than those that don't? Right? Come on. Okay. But then it hit me. It hit me like a wall of bricks. And I still get a little bit emotional when I think about the epiphany I had. And I want to share that with you. I realized that I've been in research for 20 some odd years by then, doing a lot of grant research and health research and such. I realized that this was the first time I had ever seen a research project that showed how an industry, in this case the healthcare industry, was acculturating to an increasingly diverse population. Instead of insisting that people seeking healthcare learn English or face the consequences, the institution was recognizing its obligation to adapt culturally to its customer base. And whether fully aware or implicit, the federal grant-making agency was acting upon that obligation through that particular grant. That's a big deal. I promise you, it's a huge deal. The institution, the system, was acculturating to a diverse population. Think about it. Okay, so let's get back to reality now. This is like 30 years later. The U.S. Census Bureau is an institution, right? We're the largest federal statistical agency in our nation. Just like the healthcare industry of, 30 some odd years ago, we recognize that we too must acculturate to our increasingly diverse population. And that's just what we're doing. How, you might ask? Well, one way is through external engagement. We must be aware of public sentiment and needs. Our outreach must be continuous throughout the decade, rather than just prior to a decennial census where we say, hey, year 7, census is coming up, let's mobilize, let's activate, census occurs, mic drop, thank you very much, exit stage 1. It needs to be continuous. Our outreach should include folks like researchers and policymakers, governments, tribal nations, rural communities, the business sector, elected officials, just to name a few. But it also includes inner city neighborhoods, colonias, communities of color. And yes, it includes media, youth. And that's why it's so important to actively seek and to value diverse external perspectives in our work. We realize that we cannot complete our mission alone. That's also why I'm so excited to be here with you to share this message. Because our community of the whole approach necessarily includes all of you. And all of the people in the communities that you serve. Because we serve them too, and we want to do better. Another way that we're adapting is through more culturally relevant and useful statistical data products. Okay, so not everyone here is a data nerd, but let me just say a couple of little things. And I'm not going to throw out statistics, don't worry. But we do have data visualization tools like something called My Community Explorer. Google it, My Community Explorer. We have something called Community Resilience Estimates. That's great for public health and disaster planning and things of that sort. We have something called My Tribal Area for people in tribal lands. The Census Business Builder for those folks who are interested in starting a business or whatever. And we have other products that put the power of data in people's hands in a way that they can use it in their local neighborhoods and communities. We also have our upcoming 2020 Detailed Demographic and Housing Characteristics File A, and you don't need to remember the name, but just know that this product has 2020 census data, and it's going to feature 300 race ethnicity combinations. It will truly show the wonderfully rich, diverse nature of our population. And it'll include counts for 1,200 tribes throughout the US. So, for the first time, you'll actually see racial ethnic disaggregation. So, for the MENA population, the Middle Eastern and Northern African population, you'll be able to break it down into individual countries and ancestries. For the Asian population, you'll be able to do individual Asian ethnicities and races. Even for blacks, there'll be African Americans, folks from Somalia, folks from Nigeria, that type of thing. And even for whites, German, French, etc. It's really exciting, and I hope you're as excited about it as I am, but it's coming. It's coming next month, so get ready. Yet another way, so we have our data products, right? We have our external outreach. Yet another way we're adapting to an increasingly diverse population is through something we're doing, which is a transformation and modernization process at the Census Bureau. So we're looking to create a single enterprise rather than having, we do a decennial census, and we have a group there, and we do some current population studies for the employment rate. We have that group over there. We're looking to all combine it into a single platform and approach, which normally, that means new technological systems, and all the computer scientists and stuff are getting, really jazzed up. However, you cannot undertake a transformation like this unless you include the cultural transformation of the staff. Internal cultural change is every bit a part of a transformation to a future world of statistical data products that serve you. It's not just about technology. And we believe that new levels of excellence and accuracy and relevance of data will emerge by actively seeking and listening to diverse voices. And that's the principal reason why we are here today, to speak with you, to say, we want to engage, we need to engage, and we need to do it constantly. We are here for you. Thank you. We need your voice to be heard if we're to achieve the true spirit of our mission, which is to provide the public with quality data on our nation's people and economy, and data that is relevant culturally relevant to your populations. That's my message to you, and thank you for listening to me and indulging me for these few minutes. Thank you again for your engagement and invaluable help in getting information about the census out to your communities. We are here to help, and we want to engage more. So thank you very much, everyone. I really appreciate it.
So thank you so much, Director, for your words today and coming and sharing the important work from the U.S. Census Bureau. We need to take a moment to acknowledge some very important partners, because otherwise this day would not have happened. We are grateful for our sponsors. We have our Wellness Foundation, Office of Community Partnership and Strategic Communications, SoCal Gas Company, Stop the Hate, Spread the Love, and you guys can give a shout out. Blue Shield Foundation, McDonald's, PG&E, California Newspaper Publishers, and our title sponsor, BMO. And at this time, I would like to ask Kimberly Good. She is the Chief Communications and Social Impact Officer with BMO. She has a few words to share with us this morning.
Did we make it past the noon hour? So is it now good afternoon? Excellent. So the first thing I have to do is I have to teach you how to say our name. It's BMO. Can everybody say that? BMO. I know it's very tempting to say BMO, and that's okay too. We appreciate that. I am the Head of Communications and Social Impact for BMO, and what BMO is the 8th largest bank in North America. But more importantly, what we are is a purpose-driven bank that is so excited about joining forces with the Bank of the West to serve this great state. So we are here today sponsoring this event because we understand the importance of storytelling. So as we enter into a new market, we want to be sure that the services that we offer that help our customers and communities and our colleagues to make real financial progress, that your communities know and understand that and know that there is a trusted partner coming into the community. A few things I want you to know about us. We have a purpose, and it's not just words. It embodies how we run our organization. It's to boldly grow the good in business and life. And we do that with a focus on 3 pillars: creating a vibrant economy, a sustainable future, and an inclusive society. So everything that you've heard today about inclusion and the richness of diversity in the state is super important to us. I am especially excited about being here today because I'm a journalism grad. I've been a corporate storyteller for a long time, and I am a big believer in the power of storytelling to drive change, to create progress, to help people feel a sense of community. So we are looking forward to getting to know all of you as we serve our more than 13 million customers. We are starting our presence in the community by listening, by being at events like this, so that we can hear what's important to you and ensure that we tailor what we offer to meet the needs of all the diverse communities that make California such a wonderful state. Some of you may know me from my time here working in healthcare, and at healthcare our goal was to try to make healthcare affordable to everyone. One of the things I learned in healthcare, and we heard a little bit about the statistics earlier, is that what affects health and well-being isn't just what happens in the doctor's office or the hospital system, it's all of those intangibles that happen within your communities, those things that determine social determinants of health. So as a banking partner to the community, we want to do our part to build rich communities, driving home ownership, helping small businesses, and finding other ways to help people be their best selves. So thank you for being so warm and welcoming us to this event and to the state of California. We are so excited about being here. I'm happy to have our colleagues here today, and we look forward to a long partnership. And with that, I think you're going to get to meet a little bit more about us in the current video. Thank you.
This is BMO, a bank, but not just any bank. We're in personal and business banking, wealth management, investment banking, and we're a top 5 commercial bank with 14 million customers and nearly $1 trillion in assets, making us the 8th largest bank in North America.
I can go all day.
Sure, we're big, but being big helps us do big things. Achieve bold ambitions, because we are a business driven by purpose to boldly grow the good in business and life. We're growing a more inclusive society by tackling financial barriers.
With the BMO brand, we are able to build this platform for women of color on a global scale.
Turning inequity into opportunity, exclusion into inclusion. Together, we're thousands of employees with one goal: to help our clients, their families, businesses, and communities make real financial progress. And that you can bank on.
SoCal Gas serves one.
Thank you so much for your presentation, Ms. Kimberly. This next speaker I'd like to introduce is a powerhouse in our community and statewide. I'd like to welcome Sonia Harris from the Office of Community Partnership and Strategic Communications. Ms. Harris has worked in the cabinet for 2 governors, both Governor Jerry Brown and Governor Gavin Newsom. And she has had key issues from cannabis to autonomous vehicles to the census, and including COVID-19 vaccine outreach. Sonia is here today to share with us the integrating ethnic media into the communications plans to increase vaccination rates, created measurable impacts in communities throughout the state, which supports our recovery after the pandemic. Please welcome my friend, Sonia Harris. It's a small community, y'all. We all know each other.
Oh my goodness, such a wonderful welcome. Thank you so much, Darla. And another shout out. I feel like we can't keep giving them enough accolades and praise for Regina and Sandy. I know they're running around. Yes. Oh my goodness. As Darla mentioned, I've had a chance to spend a little bit of time in state government. For those of you that don't know me, I like to think of myself as a student of government operations. I've had a chance to work in departments and agencies and the governor's office a couple of times. I am the daughter of a Korean immigrant and live a lot of my experiences through her eyes and so many opportunities that I've taken on in my professional roles. And so honored that the director is here from the Census Bureau, because boy, I thought I had learned a lot, but until I got to serve as the chief of staff for the Census 2020, the incredible campaign that so many of you participated in, I had a whole lot more to learn. So this crash course in census data and its richness, and how could we really pull that out to leverage our resources, our precious state resources, to do even better for California communities. We had a chance to do that. There were these beautiful plans that had been set over the course of several years in some areas. And then we were welcomed with the pandemic. So we took all of those plans and threw them out all the windows and all the places and all the things, and really had to come together as a team. Both as our state office as a team, with ethnic media, who are incredible partners, so many of the friendly faces here. I remember the early days in a conference room talking about your incredible ideas for how we were going to reach communities to turn them out. And I think the beauty of that is it forged unbreakable bonds. Because the state had invested $187 million in this incredible census campaign, I really believe that California was situated like no other to respond to the pandemic. The work that you'd already done to connect with these communities in their places at home and really being so innovative during that time helped us push ahead all of the efforts to meet the moment, as the good governor would say, and really deliver vaccines in a way that was equity-driven through the use of data, both the census as well as all of the incredible doctors and epidemiologists that we have in the Department of Public Health, to get down to who do we need to talk to? How do we take our story? We really took sort of three things in mind, where, who, and how. So how do we start with the where are the people we need to get to? Where were vaccination rates maybe not as great as we wanted to see? Who was high risk? How do we get to them? What are the ways that they consume the information? I talked about my mother. She was in the service industry, cooking for our airmen on base for all of her career. She raised me as an only child while my dad went to work, and so they split their shifts. So when I think about someone who came to California, Korean first as her language, how might we get information to her in a way that she felt really comfortable, right? Because she was toting around this young kid in my memory, going from thing to thing to thing to make sure I had what I need. So how do we help have a conversation with all of the Californians like her, who were really working to make sure that their families were safe and secure and could continue to thrive during the pandemic, but stopped to understand the importance of getting vaccinated, and sometimes when they needed a little help, leaning on so many of you. Our State Department stepped up to put messages in incredible places, DMV boards, on freeways, in payroll checks, all of the things. Our ethnic media partners really came together to put doctors on air, to put them in community, to record them in language, and put those messages out. And I think this surround sound is really what continues to help us understand how we can drive campaigns moving forward. The executive director, Yumi Sarah, couldn't be here today because she had a family engagement that she couldn't avoid. And so, we talk a lot about what the new office, the Office of Community Partnerships and Strategic Communications, is doing to take this census work that moved into this incredible Vaccinate All 58 campaign and really institutionalize it. So how are we taking all of these amazing things that we're learning and really infusing that into trusted messengers? You all, again, thank you for the roles that you play as our trusted messengers. And I think no one says it the best, since we're all storytellers here in some way or fashion, than our partners themselves. So we've got a short video from you today. A lot of folks ask me oftentimes, what is a trusted messenger? Just to give you a little bit of a snapshot of the incredible partnerships that we forged over the course of the pandemic. So I hope you enjoy.
East Lake, Fruitvale District, it's just a really diverse, dense, happening place, also filled with a lot of struggle, where folks just do need some help.
There's no shame, there's no judgment, it's just about us looking out for people. And it's a beautiful thing to be able to just give.
You just don't come here to do business. You need to have a relationship, have a conversation. And it's a lot different when you have trusted messengers from within the community, and we say, come on, y'all, we need to do this for the betterment of our own people. The more focused you are on respecting people's humanity and who they are and building that relationship, you can be able to take it to the next level and bring something that might not be as familiar, but they see that there's a level of trust there and they can be able to say, you know what, I will try that.
It was really rough for our community. We had higher hospitalization rates, we had higher death rates, we had, more people getting sick in our communities. I think it really took community-led conversations to really build the trust, and I think one thing that was really important for us was making sure that culture was the forefront of this campaign. I've always been, a person who loves art. It's part of our tradition. Art is huge. We do basket weaving, we do beading, we do all these things that is a healing thing for us as well. And I think showcasing public health messages with our art really gets our community to say like, hey, this is for me. This is something I should trust.
The experience of Native Americans, especially here in California, is that we are invisible. I feel that the investment of the vaccine equity campaign is critical to our communities.
In order for me to come around my elders, my mom, my grandparents, and working with the community, I know that I'm putting other people at risk. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing my best to protect them as well as myself.
It's not about sitting, waiting people to come to you. It's about you going out to get the community. Our team is a go-getter. We're going after the community, but in a positive way. Hey, are you interested in the vacuna? Or would you like to know more about our services?
Ya está vacunada. Ya tengo toda la vacuna. Mi trabajo es promocionar la vacuna del COVID y pues de convencer a las personas que se vacunen, no exigiéndoles, sino con bonitas palabras. Bueno, muchas gracias. Buenas tardes.
We just don't provide resources, but we also provide people hope in the sense that during the pandemic, we provided people with money, we provided them with food, we provided them with resources that they needed that they wouldn't have been able to receive at any place else.
So this is why it's great to have a diverse community doing your community outreach, because they understand the language, they understand the food, they understand the connection, and the way to greet one another that is inclusive, that everyone feels comfortable with you.
Sí, gracias, muchas gracias.
This kind of goes back to what Dr. Shirley Weber said, our Secretary of State, about how inclusive our state is. And if you just look around this room, the diversity that we have here and how important your work is, and I think we sometimes don't acknowledge that for ourselves. We think it's a job. No, it's a responsibility that you guys have chosen to take on. So once again, please give yourselves a round of applause for what you do. And Sonia, that was amazing, the information that you gave, the work that you do in the community, and knowing your history, your background. And I think that's what's so important, because we don't always know how to get information to those who need it, and that's why the work that you do is so important. Now, we are giving honor to some of our Communications Champion Awards, and we do have a quick word from our sponsor, SoCal Gas. Are we ready for that? Awesome. Turn your attention to the screens once again. You know, it's technology. It's all good. We understand.
A microgrid takes power from solar panels and converts it to hydrogen
that can help California and the world decarbonize. To achieve its mission, SoCal Gas is advancing its sustainability strategy across all operations through the Aspire 2045 Action Plan. by accelerating the transition to clean energy, protecting the climate, and improving air quality in our communities, increasing clean energy access and affordability, doing the right thing, championing people, shaping the future.
Love it, love it, love it. The message is all about championing, and that's exactly what we're going to do right now. It's time for the main event. We are thrilled to present our Communications Champions Award. These are government departments, community-based organizations, and communications firms that have worked to reach diverse audiences through inclusive and innovative strategies. Once again, please turn your attention to the screens.
In early 2020, with Chinese for Affirmative Action and San Francisco State University, we co-founded Stop API Hate, which has become the nation's leading aggregator of anti-Asian hate incidents. We are proud to be honored for our leadership role in advocating for the historic passage in 2021 of the API equity budget, which has allocated over $200 million to combat hate. An integral part of the work against hate is communicating its vital impact. Ethnic and Black media play an indispensable role in documenting and informing diverse audiences of these efforts to combat systemic racism and foster healing.
In the wake of surging anti-Asian racism during the COVID-19 pandemic, we joined forces with the California API Legislative Office and partners like the API Equity Alliance to successfully spearhead the passage of the API Equity budget. This measure also included $10 million allocated to ethnic media and community organizations to increase awareness of the Stop the Hate program and the services provided, and to educate communities throughout California about the need to end hate.
Ethnic media outlets are one of the most trusted sources of information for millions of Californians. The library's ethnic media outreach grants support these outlets as they get the word out about resources available for survivors of hate crimes and incidents.
Serving as a bridge to diverse communities, ethnic media is able to share their vital information in languages and cultural contexts that deeply resonate. Through their powerful storytelling, they spotlighted resources, guidelines, and older adult experiences, ensuring accurate information that reached all corners.
The key to the success of our Vaccinate All 58 public education campaign was reaching the most isolated individuals and communities, which we could not have done without working with ethnic media outlets.
Early in the VA58 journey, we realized the importance of trusted messengers. We identified subgroups within the African American community, including children and teens, who were facing alarmingly low vaccination rates. To address this, we decided to create our own superheroes, colorful characters who could deliver crucial messages that resonate in a fun and engaging way.
Listos California at CalOES is a people-powered campaign. Over 90 community-based organizations on the ground, a network of trusted messengers.
In the heart of California's vibrant communities, ethnic media emerged as a powerful ally in the fight against COVID-19 vaccine misinformation that was growing and disseminating as wildfire online and in chat groups.
By sponsoring reporting fellowships in those communities most affected by mis and disinformation, over 80 stories in 16 languages were reported and published in 58 media outlets.
Congratulations to all of our communications champions. Your work inspires and reminds us of the importance of diverse voices in shaping and understanding our world. Give a round of applause for our 2023 communications champions.
Over here, please.
Take a look at Robert right down here. He's taking some photos of us. Okay. What's happening, cousin? I told you it's a small world.
Thank you, I got it. I know.
Great, thank you so much. Once again, another round of applause.